This audiobook zooms through the history of cars, from steam-powered pioneers to self-driving wonders, sparking curiosity about how we move and what's next. Hey there, young explorers! Have you ever taken a moment to just look out the window and really see the cars zooming by? Cars are everywhere. They come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, like a rainbow on wheels. Imagine a world without them. It would be pretty different, right? From tiny smart cars to big, roaring trucks, each one has a story to tell. They take us on exciting adventures, help us visit friends, and even bring groceries home. But did you know that cars weren't always around? Believe it or not, people used to travel by horse carriages or just by walking. Next time you see a car, think about how amazing it is that people invented these incredible machines to make our lives easier and more fun. Ready to discover how cars evolved over time? Let's buckle up and start the journey. Let's hop into our time machine and journey back to a world before cars existed. Imagine streets bustling with horses clip-clopping along, pulling carriages filled with people and luggage. That was the main way people traveled long distances. If you lived in a big city, you might see horse-drawn trams or even the occasional bicycle zipping by. But what if you wanted to go even farther? People would travel by steam trains, chugging along tracks that connected towns and cities. For shorter trips, folks would simply walk. Feet were the most basic and trusty transportation tool. In some places, boats carried people across rivers and seas. Life moved a bit slower without cars, and planning trips took a lot longer. This way of getting around might seem challenging today, but it was the norm back then. Ready to find out why inventing cars changed everything? Let's roll on. Ever wondered why people felt the need to invent cars? Well, imagine having to plan a journey for days just to visit your grandma who lives a few towns over. Traveling by horse carriage or walking was not only slow, but also tiring and sometimes uncomfortable, especially in bad weather. People wanted a quicker, more reliable way to get from one place to another. That's where the idea of cars came in. Inventors started dreaming about machines that didn't get tired and could travel long distances faster. They wanted something that didn't need to stop and rest, like horses did. Cars promised freedom and speed, making it possible to explore new places easily and connect people like never before. The idea of having your own personal transport you could rely on was exciting. So, curious minds set to work, and the journey to inventing cars began. Ready to discover the first cars? Step into the 1880s, a time of steam and gas-powered wonders. Imagine the excitement as inventors tinkered in their workshops, creating the very first cars. These early vehicles didn't look much like the cars we see today. Some resembled carriages without horses, while others looked like they were made from metal boxes with wheels. The first cars were powered by steam engines, much like the trains of the time, hissing and puffing as they moved. But steam wasn't the only power in town. Gasoline engines started to appear too. In 1886, a man named Carl Benz built a motorized tricycle, often credited as the first true car. It was a strange-looking contraption, but it paved the way for all the cars that came after. These early cars were slow and noisy, but they sparked the imagination and changed how people thought about travel forever. Curious about how cars improved and became more popular? Let's find out next. Welcome to the early 1900s, a time when cars started taking over the roads and changing life as people knew it. The big star of this era was the Ford Model T, often called Tin Lizzie. Introduced in 1908 by Henry Ford, the Model T was a car like no other. Why, you ask? It was affordable. Before this, cars were considered luxury items only for the wealthy. But the Model T changed all that, making car ownership possible for everyday families. Ford used a clever method called the assembly line to build these cars quickly and efficiently, keeping costs down and pumping out more cars than ever before. People couldn't get enough of the Model T madness. It was rugged, reliable, and perfect for both city and rural life. Suddenly, everyone could hit the open road, and America fell in love with driving. Ready to see how cars evolved in style and speed next? Buckle up. Welcome to the roaring 1920s and 1930s, a time when cars didn't just get people from here to there, they became symbols of freedom and style. The cars of this era were sleek and shiny, with elegant curves and chrome details. People were not just looking for a way to travel, they wanted to do it in style. This period also saw the rise of the automobile industry giants like General Motors and Chrysler competing fiercely with Ford. Cars became faster and more powerful. New technologies like automatic starters replaced hand cranks, and some cars even had radios. Racing became a popular sport, showcasing the speed and agility of these new machines. Luxury cars like the Cadillac and the Duesenberg were the talk of the town, dazzling people with their opulence and performance. This was a transformative era where cars turned into more than just transportation. They became a glamorous part of life. Ready to cruise into the era of big and bold cars? Let's go! Welcome to the fabulous 1950s and swinging 1960s, a time when cars were all about being big, bold, and beautiful. Picture long, wide vehicles with swooping tail fins and shiny chrome accents gliding down the streets. These cars were designed to stand out and make a statement. The post-war era brought a sense of optimism and prosperity, and automobiles reflected this newfound confidence. During this time, car manufacturers competed to make their vehicles not just larger, but more comfortable and luxurious. Features like power steering, air conditioning, and automatic transmissions started becoming common. Cars like the Chevrolet Bel Air and the Ford Thunderbird became icons of American culture. The 1960s also saw the birth of muscle cars like the Ford Mustang and the Pontiac GTO, thrilling drivers with speed and power. Cars weren't just for getting around. They were a way to express personality and enjoy the open road. Curious to see how cars adapted to new challenges and fun in the 1970s and 80s? Let's drive on. Fasten your seatbelts as we zoom into the 1970s and 1980s, a time when the world of cars faced some exciting and challenging changes. The 1970s brought about a major fuel crisis, leading car makers to rethink their designs. Suddenly, fuel efficiency became a top priority. Smaller, more economical cars, like the Volkswagen Beetle and the Honda Civic, gained popularity, offering people a budget-friendly and efficient way to drive. But it wasn't all about saving fuel. The 1980s revved up the fun with the rise of sporty and innovative cars. Think sleek designs and turbocharged engines. Cars like the DeLorean, with its futuristic look and gull-wing doors, captured imaginations everywhere. Technology took a leap forward with digital dashboards and more advanced sound systems. Whether navigating an oil crisis or exploring new tech, the 70s and 80s showed us that cars could be both practical and exciting. Ready to see how the 1990s and 2000s brought even smarter and sleeker designs? Let's continue the ride. Welcome to the 1990s and 2000s, where cars became smarter and sleeker than ever before. This was a dynamic time when technology began to transform the driving experience in incredible ways. Cars started getting onboard computers, transforming dashboards into high-tech command centers. Features like GPS navigation systems and electronic stability control made driving safer and more convenient. Design-wise, cars became more aerodynamic, reducing wind resistance and improving fuel efficiency. This era saw the rise of stylish, compact SUVs and family-friendly minivans, providing space without sacrificing style. Iconic models like the Toyota Prius introduced hybrid technology, blending gasoline and electric power to reduce emissions and save fuel. Performance and luxury also took center stage, with cars like the BMW 3 Series and Mercedes-Benz S-Class combining speed with sophistication. The 1990s and 2000s set the stage for a future where cars were not just a means of transport but an integral part of the digital lifestyle. Ready to explore the electrifying advancements of the 2010s? Let's drive forward. Welcome to the 2010s, an electrifying decade where cars began to take a giant leap into the future. This was the era when electric cars shifted from being a futuristic dream to an exciting reality on our roads. Companies like Tesla led the charge, introducing sleek electric vehicles that could travel long distances on a single charge. The Tesla Model S stunned the world with its speed, range, and cutting-edge technology. Other car makers joined the electric revolution, rolling out their own electric and hybrid models, making eco-friendly driving accessible to more people than ever before. Charging stations started popping up everywhere, making it easier to keep these green machines powered up. Meanwhile, cars got even smarter with features like autopilot, touchscreens, and apps that let you control your car from your smartphone. The 2010s showed us that the future of cars is not only clean and green, but also packed with innovation and technology. Ready to explore how cars in the 2020s are taking the wheel themselves? Let's find out. Step into the 2020s, where cars are starting to drive themselves. Imagine sitting back, relaxing, and letting your car handle the journey. This decade marks the beginning of self-driving cars becoming more common on our roads. Companies like Waymo and Tesla are pioneering this new technology, using advanced sensors, cameras, and artificial intelligence to navigate safely through traffic. Self-driving cars promise to change the way we think about travel. They could make roads safer by reducing human error, and they offer freedom to people who can't drive themselves. Imagine a world where you can read a book or watch a movie while your car takes you to your destination. But this technology is still developing, with engineers working hard to make it perfect. The 2020s are an exciting time as we watch the transformation of transportation right before our eyes. Ready to dream about cars of the future? Let's see what the next decade might bring. What a journey through time we've taken, exploring the evolution of cars. From the horse-drawn carriages of the past to the sleek, self-driving vehicles of today, cars have come a long way. It all began in the 1880s with steam and gas-powered inventions, leading to the famous Model T in the early 1900s that made cars accessible to everyone. The 1920s and 30s added style and speed, transforming cars into symbols of glamour. By the 1950s and 60s, vehicles became big and bold, showcasing the power and prosperity of the era. The fuel crises of the 70s led to more efficient designs, while the 80s brought fun and technological advancements. The 1990s and 2000s made cars smarter and sleeker, paving the way for the electric dreams of the 2010s. Now, in the 2020s, we're on the brink of a self-driving revolution. Cars continue to evolve, promising a future full of exciting innovations and discoveries. Ready to imagine the cars of tomorrow? Let's dream ahead. Let's take a peek into the future and imagine what cars might be like 10 years from now. As technology races forward, the possibilities are incredibly exciting. In the next decade, cars might become even more autonomous, with self-driving features becoming a standard part of everyday life. Imagine cars that can drop you off at school, park themselves, and return to pick you up later. Electric power will likely dominate, with vehicles becoming even more efficient and environmentally friendly. Charging stations could become as common as gas stations, and cars might charge faster than ever before. We could also see breakthroughs in battery technology, allowing cars to travel longer distances on a single charge. Cars of the future might integrate more with our digital lives, featuring augmented reality displays and voice-activated controls. Who knows? We might even see flying cars becoming a reality. The future looks bright and full of potential for amazing automotive innovations. Ready to keep dreaming and exploring? The road ahead is full of possibilities. As we reach the end of our journey through the evolution of cars, let's take a moment to think about some intriguing questions. 1. How do you imagine the cars of the future will shape the way we live and travel? 2. Will roads become quieter and cleaner with more electric and autonomous vehicles? 3. What new technologies do you think will be invented to make driving even safer and more fun? 4. Could flying cars become a daily reality, or will we see new types of transportation altogether? 5. Think about the impact cars have had on our world. How have they changed the way cities are built, and how people connect with each other? Finally, consider the environment. What can we do to make sure that the cars of the future are kind to our planet? These questions are just the start of a conversation about the exciting and ever-changing world of transportation. Keep exploring and dreaming about what's next on the automotive horizon.